Right, this is LeetCode easy. So we have a string that may consist of opening and closing parentheses, and we want to check whether or not the string contains valid parenthesization. Now the conditions to validate are as follows. Every opening paren should be closed by the same kind of paren. Therefore, this and this are invalid. You can see there are different kinds. There's a curly brace, there's a round brace, there's a square brace being closed by a round brace. And now every opening paren must be closed in the correct order. Therefore, this doesn't work, and this also does not work. Okay, so in this case, this is a bit hard to see, but I think even from the explanation you can tell. I mean, just by seeing how this opens with this, you know that this is false. Same here, like that's false as well. And this is true. Wonderful. Now, Educative they don't post a solution to this video, but the solution to this video ties very closely to something we've done. I believe it's day 107. And the problem was minimum removed to make valid parentheses, which is a LeetCode medium, and this is supposed to be an easy problem. But if you've solved this before, and I'm glad that Educative put this before our current problem, which is this. If you've solved this before, then you see how solving this one is easy, right? So without much further ado, let's look at the solution to this, what this was. The solution to this was. And if you look at the diagram, so the question was how many to remove any parent that makes this wrong. So in this case, we would remove what's at index 1, and what's at index 9 to make this like a valid parenthesization. And the way they did that was to only pop braces into the stack and to check at the end of the day if there was anything left in the stack or not. And based on that, remove all the things left in the stack were things that were invalid. So in our case, if something is left in the stack, we're gonna say, oh, this is just invalid, right? And so we're gonna be, this is the setup, basically. I'm using TypeScript because it helped me catch errors, and I had to solve this myself. And so I have these types, right? You can see that they're opening braces of the three different kinds of opening braces we have, and the three different types of corresponding closing braces, right? And initialize those types. Then I create a set because I'm going to be doing some lookups down the line, and I want it to happen in constant time. And so I created these sets made up of the same opening braces, and closing braces is a set made up of closing braces as well. And now we have this function where all the heavy lifting happens, and we're going to have a stack that's going to keep it's only ever going to have opening braces. So that's something about our stack. It's only ever going to have opening braces. And so we're going to loop through the entire string. So for instance, we can use one of these. If we had this as a string, we're going to loop through every single character, every single item, so character by character. And it's going to look like this, right? This outer loop here, where the bulk of the work happens, as you can see. That, like, this is the entire function. This is everything you need to solve this. Well, almost everything you need to solve this function, this problem, because I defined a function here that's useful that we're going to see the definition of later. But if it's an opening brace, the first thing we do is put it into the stack. Okay, so in this case, they put every single brace into the stack. But in the current thing we're trying to solve, we're only going to put opening braces onto the stack. And then if what we're looking at right now, what we're pointing to as we iterate through the string that we're given, if it's not an opening brace, so we're gonna have this branch execute. And so if we get a closing brace, remember when we're in this branch, if there's a closing brace and there's nothing in the stack, then absolutely that's an invalid string. So we just return false. We break early and return false. Okay? So like in this case, the first thing we saw is this. So this string contains something invalid, an invalid parenthesization. So if the stack was empty and we got a closing brace, we're just gonna return false. Just return false. It's wrong. And now if there is something in the stack, so we're gonna end up in this case. And I explained this question. Again, the minimum removed to make valid parentheses that we saw, I believe, a couple of videos ago. I think it's day 107. If we get something, so if there was something in the stack when we came across a closing brace while looping through the strings, the characters in the string, we take what's on top of the stack. So this is like essentially a peak, right? Because I'm not removing it from the stack. I'm just saying, okay, what's on top of the stack? Then I'm checking, okay, does what's on top of the stack match? So are they of the same kind? So val is a closing brace. Top of the stack is definitely an opening brace because that's the only time we ever push things onto the stack. If they match, if they're the same, then remove it from the stack. Okay? Otherwise, if they're different, if what's on top is different, then it's invalid. So we just return false. We have an invalid string, so return false. Because so you notice this goes in there, opening brace, and then when you come here, it's the same type, so we pop, right? So if they match, we can pop. We remove it from the stack. That's why that went away in that last problem. And so we know for sure that, okay, if you can't pop it and it's going to go on there, it means it's unpaired, basically. And that means the parenthesization is invalid. So this is going to return false. And then at the end of the day, we just check, okay, is it empty or not? And if it's empty, we have a valid string. Because if there's nothing left, if everything got popped, it means everything got paired. If everything got popped, it means everything got paired. And so therefore, it means we have a valid string. But if there's something left, it means it wasn't paired. It didn't have a partner. And so that tells us that, okay, this string that you passed in the beginning was not like parenthesized properly. And then we have this matches top of the stack. Basically, it's just checking, okay, if it's a round brace, it matches the top of the stack if the top of the stack is an opening brace, and so on and so forth. So that's all there is to this problem. Let me know your thoughts. Time complexity was going to be O of n because we're looping through the entire string that we get in with this for loop. And space complexity, worst case, the stack is going to just end up pushing like all the way to the end. So it can be O of n as well. So yeah, that's all there is to this problem. Let me know your thoughts. As you can see in educative, I passed all the test cases. I'm gonna just let this run briefly. And I'm sure it's gonna work in LeetCode as well. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, upvote, share, and see you in the next one. Bye.